Hi everyone, welcome to the value. So today we're looking at Atlis Motor Vehicles. Now look at that stock, 276% jump in just one day. That's pretty incredible. So that's if you're a holder, great. But if you're thinking of buying, you do want to consider a few things, of course. So you want to consider that the stock's jumped up 276%. So potentially there's profit taking, as you see in the after hours, negative 15%. If we consider the market cap, even though it's jumped up that much, it's only $97 million. So potentially, if they've got something good going for them, 97 million could be a small value. So in terms of what they actually had going for them, they released an announcement that says Atlis Motor Vehicles reaches 2 gigawatt hours in customer demand for batteries. So these guys are a battery maker, and they're actually selling their batteries, pretty well. At least an initial point anyway. If we come down to these headlines, it basically they started mass producing in a trial about 2 months ago. They secured a partner. They got purchase orders from EV manufacturers. They also closed initial $10 million tranche of $30 million for a private placement. So these guys probably have enough to keep them running for the time being. So things sort of look alright. But the problem is we don't actually know how much they sell these batteries for. The last statement that came out showed that they had no revenue, and that's obvious because they only just started getting into production 2 months ago. So there's not much to go on. We know the cost is quite high. Like if you look at it, but most of it is actually stock-based compensation. So if you look at the last 3 months, they had an operating loss of 16 million, but 10 million of that was actually stock-based compensation. As you can see, the stock-based compensation line that I've just highlighted, that it actually makes up the biggest component, because basically they don't have a lot of money, so the best way to pay people is through stock. And it actually is a nice thing that people believe in the company enough that they're willing to accept stock, because they think if things work out, their stock's only worth more, and why not accept stock over cash in that point? So in a way, it's always reassuring as well. That's a positive aspect around stock-based compensation, that people are willing to be paid in stock. Yes, and so in that sense, their cash burn is probably not that high. So if we go to the cash flow, okay, alright, I guess still sort of like for the 9 months, like it is for 9 months, so there is no 3 months for it, I guess. Only 9 months. So for 9 months, they used about 15 million last year. So if they've managed to secure a private placement for about $30 million, that means they probably have a good runway for at least the next 12 months. So in a sense, not to worry about them having to raise money, though they might raise money because they've just secured, they've just gotten a massive rise out of their stock price. So in a sense, sometimes it would be silly not to take advantage of your share price when it's up. But who knows what they will plan to do. Perhaps they'll just let it continue to run a bit more, because if they've actually secured something good, it says faster charging times to get you and your crew back to work in 15 minutes or less, and their battery packs range up to 500 miles, which is pretty impressive. It's also fast, affordable, and consistent regardless of condition. So as you can see, this is the battery, and it's a nice, cool design, a cube. So overall, like, I don't know how well they could do. Like, it sounds like they have a promising product, but I don't know the costs in terms of how much it costs to produce, and we don't know how much they sell it for, so we don't have a good estimation on their revenue. But potentially, if they do earn some decent revenues, then it really sets something up on this share price, and potentially 97 million could be cheap, because this is the first battery manufacturer to be fully owned and operated in the US. So that itself is also something that might stand out for certain companies that might want to just use a company from the US that produces batteries. And potentially, if this battery is as advanced as it sounds, then potentially they could actually get some big customers as if they actually can ramp up the battery production in a large way. Usually these type of companies don't make profit for a long time because a lot of it's going into trying to expand production, and that's a massive cost. But it'll be a nice surprise if they're not actually losing a lot of money. Like also accounting for like inventory, that's also a massive cost. But yeah, like I think currently the market's excited because they've got a promising product, particularly in batteries, I guess. Anything EV these days is a pretty big deal, and that's why the market's just really run with this. So potentially, if you like the company, then worth watching it and seeing where the share price goes. If it dips a bit, then potentially you can always consider that you might want to get some, or if you find that this area is probably quite risky. To be fair, it's risky because we don't know where this company is headed. Sometimes no harm in waiting for more financial information to show up before you make a decision. But yeah, like pretty impressive though, 276% in one day. So yeah, I thought I'd talk about the stock just for that fact alone, because it stands out so much like that. But it also stands out because it's a battery maker in the EV industry, and we don't really see that many of those, especially ones that are actually producing. Like this company is actually in production, even though it's a trial production, but it's what sets them up to go into full commercial production very soon. Yeah, let me know what your thoughts are on this company. Until then, good luck investing, everyone.